My grandfather just passed 2 days ago. And on the very last day, I actually thought, what would it be like if I downloaded the app Ghost Detector and I detected him while he's leaving his body? Because prior to this, I was looking at people using the ghost detector in these abandoned buildings and forests. And I thought that, a person passing, his spirit is going to leave his body. You're going to see that spirit leave. So what better place and time to film that and to see if the app actually works? So as soon as I thought of this, another thought came right after. And it was a thought that if I had done this, it would be disrespectful. And on top of that, this is such a sacred place. I really don't want to bring in a different frame of mind, because we were so concentrating on making his experience really sacred, because we were praying, we were in this peaceful state of being and concentrating on him, being very respectful. And to look at it from a different point of view in which it's scientific would almost seem disrespectful. And also there's another worry that came into my mind, that if I had done that, what if that application emitting that kind of a frequency draw to it even more spirits, because if the spirits are sensing that you're wanting to sense them, so then they come. Well, what if that was the case? And I would be bringing other spirits into his vicinity where this was supposed to be a protected and sacred place. So, I scratched the idea. And we focused on prayer. But then I thought, well, who could I actually record? Who can I record? And there was a person that came to my mind, and I think this person would be okay. And then I thought of the perfect candidate. My old pug, standing on his very last leg, being the sweetheart that he is. He's blind and he's deaf, but he would never mind being recorded upon his passing. Nobody has done this so far on YouTube that I've seen. There was one guy who recorded his father's passing, and he recorded it. It was a dark background. He was sitting there singing, holding his father's hand, singing a song to his father. He didn't know his father was going to pass. His father was breathing, he's breathing. During the middle of that song, his father stopped breathing. And he can tell his father has passed. And about 3 minutes after his father stopped breathing, a tiny light came floating up like this, and then left the frame like this, going to the left of the frame. And that was his father's spirit. And it came, I think, out of his father's stomach, the belly button. So that was the only guy that kind of recorded the passing of somebody. And the background is dark. That was why he was able to record it. And it was of a normal videotape. It wasn't with any application. It wasn't with an app. And I also want to say that on the very last day, we weren't sure if he was going to keep living for another day or two. You know, we weren't sure, but we know that he was struggling. And so on the very last day, while we were there in prayer, our family was there, I could swear I heard on 3 occasions chiming, chorus, just thousands of just chiming in chorus. It's like, I was like hearing this and I said, isn't anyone else hearing this? I looked around, nobody acted out of the ordinary. They just continued to do what they were doing. They're talking. But it was so blatant. And on one occasion, it was so strong that I felt like I had to sit down. I needed to sit down. Because it was such a divine feeling. It wasn't just, it was such a divine feeling. And he had such peace. And when I came, I was called to say, okay, I was there earlier, but I went home, and they called me in the evening and said, well, your grandfather's not, he might need you. He's not stable as he was. And when I went there, people were talking, discussing things, gossiping things, just, when family get together, they just start talking. And I felt in my heart that I needed to tell them to let my grandfather have peace, to not speak, to remain quiet. And if you're going to talk, please talk, take it outside, talk outside. And I felt the urge to say it. And normally, if I felt that urge, I would keep quiet because I would feel like, I'm so trained to not speak my mind. But I felt that this wasn't for me. This wasn't for my sake. This was for him. And I needed to speak up for him. So I said, I have an announcement. I needed to speak with everyone here. And I wanted to say that it would really help him in this time if we can just remain peaceful in our heart. If we can keep quiet, because he's going through a difficult time. Every frequency that we're thinking is affecting that process that he's going through. And every touch that we're giving him is disrupting his own process, So I asked people to respect him, to respect that experience. And after I spoke that, I felt that the people are really to create that environment. And when the other people who came in a little bit later, our family members who came in later, I didn't need to say that. Other people would say, please don't, keep the crying to a minimum, keep the wailing to a minimum, let him have peace, stop touching his head, And I thought, wow, that was so amazing. People were so respectful of each other and so respectful of that experience. So I wanted to share that. Thank you so much for being here.